After his wife demanded an open marriage or divorce, this husband finally found his backbone and turned the tables. Guys, welcome back to Alpha Talk. So for today, I'm going to give you a story titled, "My Wife and I Entered into an Open Marriage at Her Request. Now she wants to close it up again." Guys, this whole story is about a couple that's been married for 15 years. And lo and behold, one day this guy's wife comes to him, approaches him, and says that she wants to have an open marriage, just out of nowhere, right after 15 years of marriage. And because the guy is weak, and he's your typical nice guy, and he has no spine, he goes along with this, even though he doesn't want to. And to no surprise, within 24 hours she's already out with some other dude, all hours of the night. Eventually you'll see that he himself gets a girlfriend, so to speak, and has a good old time with her and all that. Even though he didn't want to do this, he still went along with it. And big surprise, out of the blue, his wife, because she's no longer seeing the guy, wants to close the open marriage and threatens him with divorce if he doesn't do it, because initially, she threatened divorce if he didn't open the marriage. You're going to see this whole chain of events that occur through this, guys. It's a big mess. And guys, I'm doing this video because, once again, to show you that this is kind of our reality now, where a lot of people are in marriages where suddenly one spouse, and oftentimes it seems to be the woman, wants to suddenly open it up after years of marriage. I want to make this clear because there are certain lessons involved in this story. My thing is abundantly clear. Women that are deeply in love with their guy, whether it's their boyfriend, fiancé, husband, they're not going to do this, okay? They're going to want to have him all to themselves. The only exception is if both of them, both the man and the woman, husband and wife, whatever, from the get-go, were very open sexually, okay? That's the only exception. But otherwise, no. But what happens? What causes a woman to want to do this? Well, the biggest cause for a woman no longer to be in love with a guy or a woman's version of love, because the way a man loves and the way a woman loves is different, is always because she loses respect for the guy, okay? And that typically is because a guy acts weak. Women do not respect guys that are weak. So if you have a guy that is acting what they were referring to as being too nice, he's a pushover, he's a doormat, he doesn't stand up to her, he doesn't lead things, okay? In time, she's going to lose respect for him. And even if she was in love with him beforehand, that love is going to go away. And once that love goes away, that's when things like this can happen. That's when cheating happens. That's when, "I want to have an open marriage," that type of crap, okay? So, that's why I tell you guys, for those in general, guys, I want you all to be strong. I want you all to stand up for yourselves and not become a pushover doormat to anybody. But for you guys that do relationships, or guys that want to be married one day, or are married right now, mark my words, if you behave in that way where she knows that she can push you around and that you're not going to stand up for yourself and act like a weak little, you can kiss your marriage, a relationship, bye. And it's only a matter of time before she starts cheating on you, or just ends it all together. Give it time. So, you got to stand up for yourself. I can't make that any more clear. Without respect, there's no love. Without any love, there's going to be a whole bunch of problems. But anyway, guys, I'm going to jump into this story. And before I get into the story, again guys, if you happen to be on Instagram, be sure to follow me because I'm now on Instagram. And if you're also on Locals, be sure to follow me on Locals. You can either follow or support me. If you're a supporter, you can get exclusive content, exclusive videos I don't do here on YouTube, and be able to converse with me and post and all that. And you also can support me through Patreon as well. I've got links down in the description. Anyway, on to the story. It starts off, my wife and I have been married for 15 years. We have 2 children, a 14-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy. It says in the title, I've removed Zan read this part as it's not relevant to the spoken script, that she's 37 and he's 39. They've been married for 15 years, which means she was 22 and he was 24. Way too young. Again, one of the most common denominators to all these stories is they got married way too young. Just a little warning for you guys who want to get married and think it's a good idea to do it really young. Well, a warning not to do it at all, let alone if you do, if you're very young. About 1.5 years ago, my wife came to me asking for an open marriage. She said she was bored with just us and wanted to experience more. So how did she approach this? Was the guy brushing his teeth or sitting on the john doing his business and she knocked on the door and said, "Oh, honey, I want to go and F other guys, okay? Have a good day at the office." Does that come out of the blue? He says, I was very much against this, as I am a strong believer that marriage is between 2 people. At the same time, when we got married, I had had 5 partners, and my wife had only been with just me. Yeah, sure, dude, sure. And, notice already he's beginning to justify what he's about to agree to. She made it clear that either we opened things up or she was prepared to file for divorce. I'd be like, see ya, have a nice life. I'm willing to bet you they're probably in a no-fault divorce state. That's why I tell you guys, if you're going to get married, make sure you don't do it in a no-fault divorce state. You can do everything right, and all of a sudden she could cheat or would do something like this, and that's it, and she's still going to get half or more. Neither of us wanted that, so I agreed under certain conditions. Nobody brought back to the house. We didn't talk about the partners. The kids don't know. Family doesn't know. All partners are tested ahead of time. Nobody that we both know, etc. So, the guy's he's going along with her plan even though he doesn't want to do it because she's threatening him, okay? Does that sound like a strong guy to you? Does it? Does this sound like a guy that she respects? No. She has absolutely no respect for him. She's obviously, only in the marriage because obviously they have kids, and obviously he's a provider. And you're going to find out that guess what? She hasn't worked a day since the kids were born. So she obviously needs him, but she walks all over him. So, and she, just right here, she threatened him. Boom, she got what she wanted. Never do that, guys. He goes on. I had a strong suspicion that my wife had someone in mind, and this was confirmed when 24 hours after we agreed, she went out and didn't return until 4 a.m. Less than 24 hours, she's already out with some other dude. Didn't come home till like 4 o'clock in the morning. I guarantee you that she had a dude lined up already. Guaranteed. Because a lot of times in these situations, when there's a breakup or something like that, the woman's off with another guy pretty quickly. And the guy's shocked, thinking, how could she move on so quickly? Trust me, there was a guy in backup. And a lot of times there's multiple guys in backup. This was all planned out, guaranteed. It was difficult for me to accept, and I was really not okay with it, but I wanted to save my marriage. Dude, the marriage had been over a long time ago. And it was especially over the second that she wanted to have the open marriage, and you, like a total redacted, agreed to this. You gotta be out of your damn mind. You want to save the marriage by letting her go out there and hook up with dudes left and right? That's your idea of saving the marriage? This guy is a weak, spineless little. Okay, I mean, I don't mean to sound cruel, but this guy, obviously, he needs to hear this. Strong men of value, they're never going to tolerate this crap. And guess what? Their women aren't going to do that because they know darn well those guys will be like, hit the road, honey. I'm going to replace you with somebody younger and hotter than you. Like that, because they'll respect that guy. It was difficult for me to accept blah 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 blah. Last May, I met Amber. Our daughters are in marching band together. Amber is divorced and has no interest in getting married again. Gee, I wonder why, like everyone else in the world. She does have needs, so 5 months after opening up the marriage, I began sleeping with Amber. So I gotta wonder if for 5 months his wife has been out having fun, and this guy has been trying to get women. It's way easier for just an average, okay-looking woman who's just barely cute to get dudes. But a good-looking guy, he obviously has to work at it, even though he's a good-looking guy. Because, let's be honest, men are pigs, and will pretty much nail anything that moves, as long as, a certain body type and, obviously, has some decent hygiene. Let's be honest here. But for a good-looking guy, it's going to take some work. 6 months. Changed 5 to 6 to match later text. At first it felt like cheating, but honestly, it's nice to have something no strings, where neither of us wants it to proceed forward. Over time, I became comfortable with the idea that my wife and I will be able to get our needs met both inside and outside our marriage. It actually made our sex life a lot more passionate, and we were much happier. You weren't happier. Come on, there's no happiness in this marriage. Get the hell out of here. My wife and her side guy, who I never met, stopped seeing each other in April amid coronavirus, so about 1 year ago. For what I gather, while he's in an open marriage, his wife is not aware, and it was too hard to get away. So, this guy's wife, the guy who's telling this story, his wife is such a wonderful individual that she has no problem hooking up with some other wife's husband, and the wife doesn't know. Does she not sound just a little bit selfish to you? Good Lord. Well, karma's going to come back and bite both of these people in the ass as I go on with the story. In May, we helped organize a Zoom concert for the band kids, which turned out great. Though my wife met Amber for the first time, well, I guess Amber has been open with a few of the moms. Because it got back to my wife that Amber was my outside partner. And he says in parentheses, see update. Ah, how interesting. My wife informed me that, as we both know Amber, I need to end things with her. I refused, citing the fact that neither of us knew her ahead of time, and that meeting did not violate the rules we established. Throughout the past month, she's numerous times told me that she's uncomfortable with me continuing to sleep with Amber, and I need to conclude the arrangement. Note that she was fine for a year, when she was with her partner. So she stopped seeing her guy, so basically, if she can't have her guy, then he can't have his girl. Even though this was her idea to begin with, right? It was her idea that, hey, to fix the marriage, we need to have an open relationship, and if you don't agree with this husband, I'm going to divorce you. This is her idea. The weekend came, and she told me, and stayed, that she'd like to close our marriage again. I told her. I was open to that, as long as we agreed that it would remain closed moving forward. She agreed that she wants. That's what she wants as well, and that she doesn't need to have any more partners, that she's happy with just me. Yeah, sure. Until the whole coronavirus thing is over with, and everything's back to normal, and she's going to be back with her Chad and Tyrones, like that. I told her that I could agree to close the marriage on 2 conditions. Well, this guy's starting to have a spine now. He's starting to actually stand up just a little bit to her. Well, wait to see her reaction. She's obviously not used to him standing up to her. The first, I laid out above. The second, I wanted her to sign a document waiving spousal support in the event of divorce. She flipped out. She categorically refused to even consider that. My wife is A, and he has this in capital letters, SAHM. Assuming this is stay-at-home mom, I've expanded it below. I don't know what the hell that is, and has not worked since we got married. She said that I could keep seeing Amber and leave her with nothing if she signed that. I told that I'd be willing to include a list of mutually agreed situations, including infidelity on my part, where the agreement would be void. I notice here I said there again, she hasn't worked at all since the kids were born. So, this guy not only, obviously, this guy's probably been a good husband. He's been taking care of all the bills. That's why she's with him, because this guy takes care of everything. She says it's not open for discussion, that she's not going to continue to be cheated on, left with nothing when I decide to leave her for Amber. Cheated on? This was her idea. The thing was her idea, to save the marriage. I point out that this whole thing was her idea. Good for you, man, and I only went along with it to preserve our marriage. She says that if we don't close up the marriage, then it might as well be over. So again, the same woman who said that, either you do this or our relationship's over, now she's saying, if you don't close the marriage and do what I want, then it's over. She's using the constant threat of divorce to get her away with this guy. And I guarantee that she's been using this type of tactic, and different tactics, probably the entire time they've been married, okay? But now, finally, the guy, he has a girl, and he's starting to say, guess what, I got options. And I'll say, starting to grow a pair, and he's starting to slowly stand up for himself here. And obviously the concern about ending the marriage isn't as big as it was prior to this whole thing starting out. This is what happens, guys, when you recognize you got value. This is what happens when you recognize you got options. You stand up for yourself. You're not going to tolerate crap. I know, and you'll know that, hey, if this doesn't work, out. If I'm being disrespected, if I'm being mistreated, hey, fine, I'm out of here, or you're out of here, and I'll replace you like that. Or I'm perfectly happy being on my own. Just a guy. Just a bachelor on his own, living his life. I don't need you. And a story. If you're going to treat me with disrespect and be rude and pull crap like this, forget it. He goes on, should I agree without stipulations? I know there's no future with Amber, as we both agreed it's purely physical. And even though I know I'm standing my ground, I feel like I'm blowing up my marriage over a dead end. At the same time, I don't believe it's about Amber at all. The guy has every right to have these, to stand up for himself and have these stipulations and all that. He may think there's no future with his Amber girl, and it probably isn't, but the point is, he now realizes there are options out there, from being a lot happier, because there's no way he was happy with his wife. He just probably was just kind of like this zombie, going through his marriage, just to stay in it for the kids, which a great deal of guys do. And, him blowing up the marriage? No. She's the one that has ruined the marriage. Now, we're going to go into a couple updates here. Now, update number 1, he says, so, based on what some of you have heard, based on what some of you have said here this morning, I called Amber up. I reminded her that we're supposed to keep things discreet, and asked her who she shared the details of our liaison with. Because obviously, it got back to his wife. She denied telling anyone, and I didn't get the feeling she was lying. I pulled my wife's Google timeline history and discovered that she tracked me to Amber's house in April. Wife's doing some stalking. She followed me and then deliberately introduced herself to Amber to create conflict. This wife of his, she is calculating, she is cutting, she obviously had a dude lined up before this whole thing went down, and now she's tracking down this guy's, girlfriend, if you want to call her that, now starting a lot of drama. So she said, hey, well, now we both know her, so you have to end it. Here I was thinking she actually wanted to get involved in band parents, but no, she just wanted to try to end things with my outside partner. I don't even know what to do at this point. I'll tell you what to do. Dump the redacted. Divorce. This is not going anywhere. Next update. To recap, my wife told me she wanted to open marriage. Oh, we know all this. Goes on. Now, on to the last month. It's been a very tough month. I confronted my wife about the stalking. She denied it at first, and then I brought up her location history. She attempted to deflect, claiming I invaded her privacy, but I didn't take the bait. She was stalking him. She was breaking the rules of the open marriage that she wanted to happen to begin with, and now she's denying it and insulting him, saying that he was invading her privacy. She's something else. Finally, she admitted that she didn't like that I had someone on the side when she didn't. And a mom at the school felt too close to home. So everything was fine with her as long as she had her guy. But the second that guy was out of the picture, unbelievable. I agreed that I would end things with Amber if she would agree to counseling, close the marriage up permanently, and start looking for a job to help with household expenses. Yeah, laid down the law, open marriage is over and your ass is getting a job. She replied that she's a stay-at-home mom. The kids are 12 and 14 years old. It's not like they're a bunch of little kids running around the house that need to have mommy they're chasing after. 12 and 14, they're fine, go get a job. I told her it was something we could revisit after coronavirus is over, but when things normalize, she can't just stay at home. Good for you, man. We did a few therapy sessions that things went well at first. The therapist challenged her on why she had followed me, asked why she had felt she had to go outside the marriage, and had her address pretty much everything going through my mind. That's interesting because a lot of times the therapists pretty much tend to just go along with what the wife wants and make the husband look bad. That's interesting to hear this. I wonder if the therapist was a dude. Then things went south. As if things haven't been going south pretty much for the last year when she wanted to do this. She admitted her outside partner was someone from her past, a high school boyfriend. Wow, this just keeps getting better and better. They'd broken up before anything happened and had reconnected. She regretted not going all the way with him in high school and decided she wanted to fulfill that desire. Sure, I really believe that. I was pissed. I told her that if me choosing a mom from school was too close to home, then her choosing a married ex-boyfriend was completely unacceptable. I told her I didn't even want to look at her. I checked into a hotel to go cool off because I didn't want to have my kids see me like that. This guy's a good dad. I stayed there for a few days and then decided to go home and deal with what was left of my marriage. When I got home, I found that my daughter was being unusually cold to me, even for a 14-year-old girl. She was very dismissive. When I asked you what was going on, she went off on me for cheating on mom with a band mom. So, mom told the kids. Unbelievable. This woman, his wife, is a piece of garbage. Now she's messing with the kids and messing with their emotions. Because these are teenage kids. So their emotions are already going all over the place as it is on their own, let alone having this type of family drama. Hoodie, I'd like to know, did mom happen to mention to her daughter, her impressionable young daughter, that it was her idea to begin with, to start this whole mess? I think not. I asked her where she'd heard this. She wouldn't tell me at first, telling me it didn't matter, but then finally admitted her mother told her that I was staying at my girlfriend's house. After I left, he was in a hotel. I counted 10 in my head, emphasized 10 for dramatic effect, told her it wasn't true, showed her the receipt on my phone for the hotel, and told her that her mother and I had a fight. And I decided to take some time away so we could both calm down. She cried a lot, and I promised her that I loved her, and I'd always love her. I did my best to remain calm, though I was burning up inside. This guy's a good dad. Even though he wants to explode, he's keeping as calm as he can be for his daughter. Notice this. He's being the rock. He's being the strong one, okay? He's freaking out inside, but he's keeping it calm, he's keeping it cool. So when she's having to melt down, his daughter, he's there for her. And he can calm her down. That's how guys have to be. This is why I tell you guys, you can't get all emotional, freaking out and all that with your girl. You got to be calm. You got to be her rock. Because if you're not going to be her rock, she's going to go someplace else. Women are the ones that fly off the handle and get all emotional and all that, okay? Continues, I didn't even go to my wife. I went on Facebook and found the guy's wife. I sent her a message letting her know that for a year and a half, her husband had been having an affair with my wife, and I'd be happy to send her any proof that she'd like. Damn. She was very appreciative and had suspected something was up. Now the fireworks are really going to go off. A few hours later, my wife came to me in a rage, screaming that I had violated the confidentiality of our therapy and ruined the guy's life. That guy ruined his own life and marriage. And in terms of violating the confidentiality, how about her going and telling the kids? This woman is unbelievable. This woman is a train wreck. I asked her what she meant by telling our daughter that I had a girlfriend. She denied doing it. She's not doing it, and still refused to admit that she told her anything other than I was away for a few days. Yeah, sure. Given the fact that she's been so honest up until this point, that she's been such a kind, loving, wonderful mom and wife, that he's going to buy into that. This went down last Thursday. We haven't spoken to each other since. We're supposed to have another counseling session tomorrow, though I don't see it's even worth going. It's not worth going. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. I keep catching her in lies, and I don't think I'll ever be able to trust her again. I know that filing for divorce is the wise choice at this point, but I feel sick thinking about it. I feel like a failure because I couldn't keep up, make my marriage work. Dude, it is not your mistake. And the only thing that this guy did wrong was him, but through the marriage, obviously, being a pushover and a weak and being a doormat, okay? She lost respect for him because the guy was weak, okay, and wouldn't stand up to her. And just guarantee got worse and worse and worse as time went on, okay? That's what he did wrong, okay? But that doesn't justify her actions and her lying and all the things going on, not in any way, shape, or form, okay? This guy, also I might add, was the one paying all the bills. He worked, she stayed at home. She's probably at home all day watching freaking daytime TV and probably having little affairs. Very hard to believe this is the first time there wasn't something going on here, okay? But this woman's garbage, all right? This guy should not blame himself. Just learn not to be a doormat and stand up for himself. That's what this guy should take out of this. I know that's where it's going to end up. I just feel like I'm going to throw up every time I try to call an attorney. And that ends the story, guys. And what I would suggest to this guy was talking to me and asking me for advice. I would tell him, no matter how sick in your stomach you feel about having to end the marriage and the impact you'll have on the kids and going for a lawyer and going through that hell, walk away. End it. It's over, okay? It was over a long time ago, before all the drama of the last 5 or 10 minutes, which I've been reading to you guys, okay? I'd recommend talk to an attorney, find out all his options, good, bad, or ugly. I'd like to know if he's in a new, no-fault divorce state, community property state, those type of things, and find out his options, and I'd move on from there. I would move out and find out what it would be in terms of what he didn't, probably having to pay her and all that because they've been married 15 years, so she's going to get alimony. I mean, especially if they're in a no-fault divorce state, she's going to get alimony. Then there's child support, who are the kids going to live with and all that. But the other day, it is far better. Even if he has to take a major hit financially, even if it means that obviously the kids stay with her, and he sees them on every other weekend, on holidays, wherever the hell it is, it's still better for him, as a man, that he walks away and ends it. Because stay on with this and be miserable? Life is too short. Seriously, the guy's in his late 30s. He's got his whole life together. For a lot of you guys watching this, there are bad marriages, and you have kids, and if you're in your 30s, or 40s, or even 50s, there's still a lot of life to live. You can still turn things around. If you get hammered financially, you can move into a small place, live cheap, start preserving, saving your money again, rebuilding your wealth, moving on. And obviously, if you want relationships, you can obviously take all the hard lessons you've learned the hard way and make sure to make the same mistakes again in round 2, if you do that. I'm not saying go get married again. I'm just saying, if you want to do relationships when you've healed emotionally and taken time. But this guy should walk away and get the hell out of there. But me, I would revise it. He definitely constantly reassures the kids, especially the daughter, that it's not their fault, that he loves them. He's going to be for them, there for them no matter what. Because the last thing you want is to, obviously, he walks away, and the girl starts having daddy issues at 14 years old because in her mind, dad left me. No, okay? You gotta be there for the kids, okay, as much as you can, especially if mom gets them. But it's over. There is no way you're going to preserve this. And let that crazy wife of his be some other poor bastard's problem one day down the road. Because she'll get with some guy, guaranteed, if she's remotely attractive. But anyhow, guys, I wanted to share that with you. And again, the lesson is, in this story, the main lesson is, stop being weak. Stop being a pushover. Stop this nice guy redacted. You gotta stand up for yourself. This type of crap is not gonna happen in marriages where the wives are in love with their guy, okay? With their husband, okay? And that love is gonna come from respect, from him being a leader, being strong, being not a doormat, not a pusher, not being weak. But when you just allow women to walk all over you, they'll lose all respect. And this type of crap is going to happen. So, anyhow guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below, let me know what you think about this, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.